Welcome back to the channel, gang, for the latest episode of the Over the Top of the Bar podcast, focusing on all things Premier League. Thanks for stopping by. And before we get into it, of course, if this floats your boat, please remember to like, subscribe, press the notification bell so you know when the next episode comes out. But also, more importantly, I would say, is to leave a comment and let me know what you think, especially if I'm going to focus on your favourite club in this episode, and we'll come on to that shortly. Firstly, let's have a quick look at the results for game week number 4. So what we got: Liverpool, fortunate win there, 1-0 against Burnley. Hannibal conceding a late penalty there, oh dear. You got to feel for Burnley fans. Man City 3, Man United 0, probably the score of the weekend, I would say, and one of the games, or at least one of those clubs we're going to focus on in this episode. Arsenal 3, Forest 0, no surprise there. Bournemouth 2, Brighton 1. Yep, this is a good one. I think these two are both fairly evenly matched, so I think Bournemouth will be happy with that result. Palace 0, Sunderland 0. Well, I'll give them a little mention today. 0-0 ball draw, same with Everton Villa. I'm not surprised with either of those, to be honest. Fulham 1, Leeds 0. I think Fulham will be Fulham will be relieved for that result, I think. You never want to lose to one of the newly promoted teams if you can help it. Newcastle 1, Wolves 0. Nick Voltemade getting on the score sheet there. That's good to see. Maybe a bit of a comfort there for Newcastle fans that it seems as if there's a half-decent replacement for Mr. Isak, who, as we know, has gone elsewhere. What else we got? West Ham 0, Tottenham 3. This is a game we'll be looking at. And also Brentford 2, Chelsea 2 to finish. So yes, some interesting results there actually. No real surprises, I would say. Not even Man City, Man United. I wouldn't say that is, I wouldn't even call that a surprise either, really, to be honest. But I'm going to have a look at 3 of the clubs this week. Man United, and we're going to try and offer an explanation as to what the hell is going on there. Bit of Palace news, just something I saw on social media over the last few days, and also West Ham. What is going on with Graham Potter? Do you think he's going to survive, or do you think he's going to win the sack race this season? Well, I think Bruno Santo has actually won that, but who's next to you? I think it looks like Potter is probably the favourite to go. Let's start off with Man United. I saw the highlights. There's no end of videos out there, going over the tactics and, how Man City's left side basically sort of dominated the game and what have you. An opening goal from Phil Foden and 2 from some bloke called Haaland to give City what seems like a comfortable result. But away from football, my club allegiances aside, it seems to me that since Sir Alex Ferguson left, it seems 12 years later, the club is still being haunted by this fella. And I've got here a list of the managers since. There's been David Moyes, who I think would have been a good choice actually, had they given him more time. Ryan Giggs, of course, Giggsy was caretaker manager. Louis van Gaal, he was there for a couple of years, wasn't he? Jose Mourinho, who we'll mention in a couple of seconds from now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well, and Erik ten Hag, now with the soon likely Ruben Amorim, ill-fated Ruben Amorim, let's say. I think it's probably out of him and Graham Potter for the next runner-up in the sack race this season, to be honest. But the thing is, if you look at the stats, and when I say stats, I'm just talking about, win percentages of the managers that have taken over. Jose Mourinho was actually the best. He had a win rate of 58%. Solskjaer second on 54%. Erik ten Hag as well on 54%. Louis van Gaal 52. David Moyes 52, almost 53. Ralph Rangnick 37, almost 34%. I think Ralph Rangnick was kind of doomed, actually, to be honest. I think the writing on the wall, the writing was on the wall, and the feeling here in Germany was that he was on a bit of a losing wicket, to be honest. Ruben Amorim as well, 36%, and no shock Sherlock. And I suppose with hindsight, you could always look back and say, well, you should have stuck with Mourinho. I mean, I would probably say either Mourinho, Moyes, or maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. One of those three would have been able to take Man United forward had they been given enough time and had the fans, been a little more long-sighted, I would say. Because I would probably, you won't like this, Man United fans, but I would say the club is probably a bit toxic. When you're changing managers every couple of years, is very much kind of like, what we used to see in the 80s with the, Real Madrid or whoever. Couple of years, don't perform, out the door. Someone else comes in, couple of years, don't perform, out the door. And when you look at the clubs that have been successful over recent years, even if you look at Man City, all right, whatever, but Guardiola, he's been at the helm for a while now. Yeah, if you look at, Liverpool, okay, Arne Slot, he's just been there a season, but Jurgen Klopp was there for 9 years getting on. So the managers at the other clubs where they're kind of challenging, let's look at Arsenal as well. You've got Arteta, he's been there a few years now, he's changed the club, turned it very positively round. He's going to be a topic for another discussion, I would say. But again, he's been there a while. You have to back the manager and give him some time. And I would even go as far as to say, even if you get relegated, it's all about money at the end of the day. And a lot of these changes are really simply that, the club don't, suffer the fate of relegation. But I just think Man U, it's actually more the club than the manager. And you can see Amorim is up against it now. And when you look at the players that they have, I wouldn't say these. I wouldn't look at these in the same way that I would look at like a Neville, a Giggs, a Beckham, a Scholes, a Keane. That they don't have anyone like that. Fernandes is the captain. A choice I don't understand, but it is what it is. I just think United they really need to start from the top down, because I think this is where the issues are. You got the fella from Ineos, what's his name? Dance break. So Jim Radcliffe. He has a job on his hands. He has a big job on his hands getting this lot back up and running. Maybe it was a result of giving Sir Alex Ferguson so much power, I suppose, over the time he was there. I don't know. But, it definitely seems as if there's a structural issue there at Man United. So that said, United fans, let me know what you think. Keep it pleasant if you can. I know it's an emotional topic, so I wouldn't blame you for getting a bit emotional, let's say. Next on, West Ham. Mr. Potter, what is going on there? Since he's taken over, they've not done well at all. Of course, after the defeat at the weekend, of course, Graham Potter is going to come out with all kinds of, finding the positives, let's say, to use a cliche. But it doesn't really mask the situation, to be perfectly honest. Tottenham, you have to give them credit. under Thomas Frank. Tottenham, I would say, are probably likely contenders, I would say, this season. Thomas Frank is someone who I think is a very capable manager, head coach, whatever you want to call him. I'm not surprised they beat West Ham, to be honest. As I say, he's a very capable guy. I think they've got a good team as well, actually, Tottenham, fundamentally. And personally, I would say he's probably a better coach than Anger Postecoglou, who we know has gone to Forest and was royally stuffed at the weekend, wasn't he? 3-0 by Arsenal. No shock there, I suppose. You can't. You have to give Arsenal credit, but I think where Postecoglou is concerned, you didn't even see this increase by 5 to 10% in the performance from the players under a new manager, as often you see, where the new manager comes in and then the players up their game a bit and give that little bit more. Didn't seem to happen under Forest, under Postecoglou, unfortunately. But anyway, going back to West Ham, I think Graham Potter is under the cosh there. And there's there's a bit about it on the weekend where they're quoting Potter as saying, "Stick together, but will Potter get more time at West Ham?" And this is a question. And when you go down to what the fans say, there's one fellow here, Bonnie, Graham Potter, at this rate, even Harry Potter would struggle to work his magic. This has relegation written all over it. I'm inclined to agree there. Matt says 11 goals and counting conceded in 4 games is relegation waiting to happen. For all the owners need to leave West Ham to be a success. The inability to defend so far this season has to sit with Graham Potter. Someone else saying, look, they were poor under Moyes, poor under Lopetegui or Gui, wasn't he, the last fellow that was there, and now they're poor under Potter. And when it comes, it's like Man United, when you get this succession of managers who don't succeed, is it really the manager's fault? Is it about sacking the manager? In these kind of circumstances, I'll probably say sack the flipping board, to be honest, because they don't seem to be, for whatever it is. Maybe it's cash, maybe it's just the whole running of the club, the atmosphere at the club. Definitely at Forest, I wouldn't bet against them struggling this season, actually. Let's see. Forest fans, what do you reckon? But I think they're relegation fodder. Along with West Ham, I think West Ham are in danger. It doesn't look good for them. There's another fellow here, West Ham Sport, he says there's a lifetime hammer and a multi-decade season ticket holder. This club is losing its soul. I fear the manager will pay the price, for the truth is to blame for a total lack of strategy, and the destruction of the soul lies with the owners, no one else. I'm inclined to agree with that, to be honest. I'll make you right there, Martin. Yes, unfortunate, very unfortunate, and I think it's probably out of Potter. Potter, Amorim, and maybe Postecoglou. It wouldn't surprise me if his compatriot at Forest turns on him if things don't improve over Christmas. So let's see what happens there. Just for Palace, a quick thing. I saw Ollie Glasner gave an interview on it was on Instagram. I saw this. I think it was with the BBC actually, and he kind of said yes, It was. I had a chat with Steve, and he said, "Look, Ollie, do you think we can survive? With letting Mark go and all this kind of stuff?" And he's justified it like, 15,000 minutes versus 1,000 minutes from someone who was in League One and all this. No, it's not going. That would make sense had they had that discussion after the FA Cup final, because I'm 100% certain, although I'm not connected with a club or anything, it's common sense, man. They must have known Mark Gay was going to Liverpool. I'm sure. Maybe Liverpool didn't tell them, but football, like any other kind of team sport or whatever, is riddled with gossip. People are talking and all this kind of stuff. I can't believe they didn't know. And, you know, as a local lad, you know, I grew up in Croydon. I don't support Palace for various reasons. But, I mean, good Lord, it's like every time the club seems to get somewhere, they shoot themselves in the foot. You know, and for me, Ollie Glasner, he won't sign a new contract, it seems. Yeah. So you know what? If you're Steve Parish, you want to be looking to replace him, let alone Mark Gay, yeah, instead of having this guy have you by the short and curlies, mate. Anyway, that's that rant over. That's all from me, guys. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'm conscious of time. So, yes, grateful for your time and for your patience and for your involvement. If you would like to leave a comment, will be very greatly appreciated. You know, whether you're a West Ham fan, whether you're a Forest fan, a Man United fan, or of course a local Croydon resident or Palace fan, I'll be happy to hear what you have to say as well. Anyway, that said, that's it from me. I'm going to wrap it up there, folks. Again, thanks very much for stopping by. Much appreciated. If this has floated your boat, please remember to give us a thumbs up, press the subscribe button and the notification bell, and by all means, most importantly, leave a comment, and let's get the conversation started. Take care of yourselves and one another, and until the next time, guys, remember, it's going to go in off the top of the bar. Peace.